Hi, and welcome. Welcome to the and for more. I am your host, Wesley Reece, and today we have our guest expert, Alyssa Adams, who I'm going to introduce you to in a second. So, welcome today. We have a hot topic, and I'm so excited to bring it to you. Um, but first, if you're new to me, my name is Wesley Reece. I'm a success coach and healer for midlife female entrepreneurs. Women typically come to me when they know that they have a strategy that works and they've done all the traditional mindset stuff and they're still not getting the results that they want. And so that's where I come in. I help them get better results in a way that's instant, permanent, and painless. So I really help women release those emotional and subconscious blocks that are getting in their way of their best efforts so that they can become more visible in the online space, work fewer hours, and make more sales. And yes, it is possible. My mission is really to transform the lives of women, empowering them to let go of the stories that are holding them back, causing them to play small so that they can step into their greatness unapologetically, shining their light in this world. Today, I'm excited to bring you Dr. Alyssa Adams as our guest expert. She and I had the pleasure of meeting in a women's mastermind group, and we instantly connected. She's a psychologist turned uncommon business coach. She's a professional trailblazer who helps entrepreneurs unleash their uniqueness and create their expert brand so that they can magnetize the perfect clients and opportunities. Today, we're chatting about the hot topic human design, and I'm so excited for Alyssa to share this with you in our conversation today. So, welcome, Alyssa.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here and to chat with you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. Great for you to share about embracing your gifts through human design. And first, I want to just help whoever's watching. I want to help them understand really what human design is. So, if you could share that with us, that'd be an awesome start.
hmm Sure, yeah. And it always sounds a little wonky when I describe it. So kind of stay with me through that. But it's really described as the science of differentiation. So what I love about that so much, right, is that it is built to tell us how we're different, how we're unique, how we're special, what strengths and gifts we came here with, what we're here to do in a way. And it's essentially a synthesis of all of these different other systems, right? So it's astrology, Kabbalah, I Ching, chakra system, all layered on top of each other and synthesized together that give us this unique, new, and different way of looking at who we came here to be.
Now, tell me, how did you get going in this? How did you learn about it?
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting because it like came into my life a few times and I sort of just ignored it or brushed it off, didn't have time for it, I guess, I don't know. But I was at a networking event in the spring of 2021, early spring, and I was listening to a woman speak about human design. And I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. Let me learn a little bit more. She was talking about different energy types. And as she was talking, I looked up my own type, which is projector. And when she got to the point where she was talking about projectors, which at that point I didn't know what that meant, um, she shared that projectors can burn out by the time they're 30. And that can sometimes look like pretty intense health issues because they've been trying to operate like a generator or a manifesting generator for essentially their whole lives. So, it hit me so hard when she said that because I had burned out really hard by that time. And I actually had been in the hospital twice by the time I was 28 from uh, pretty significant health issues. And it really pulled it all together in a way for me where I was like, what is this system that so perfectly described something that I've struggled with my entire life, right? Not knowing when enough is enough, burning the candle at both ends, pushing and pushing and pushing and making things happen, then getting rewarded for making things happen. So then thinking that's the way I had to keep doing it, right? So it really just sort of shocked me into learning more about this system that really described my life experience. So it was kind of an intense moment, but that's how it came into my life.
That is, and what a great example as to what we think, you know, growing a business takes, and really understanding it's different for everybody. And you're right. Going through the things that you think will help you grow and serve your clients and all that, and then all of a sudden learning that it's working against you, that's pretty incredible. And so you're a projector. What does that mean?
Yeah, so there are different energy types, which is one of the first ways that people usually kind of get introduced to the human design system. They learn about their energy type. So it's kind of like how we're meant to use our energy, right? Like, well, how does our energy work? To oversimplify things. So there are manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. So projector, which is my type, there's actually a couple different subtypes of projector. And the kind of takeaway pieces, the summary of projectors is that they're really meant to be here to guide the energy of others, to help people understand systems, to work more efficiently, to coach them, to guide them, to lead them. That's really the kind of essence of a projector. And you're also meant to kind of step in, give your guidance, wisdom, insight, lead, and then step out. You're not there to do the doing of a project or to take things from kind of start to finish or to put a lot of the efforting into things. You're there to give your kind of 30,000-foot view, guide the process, and then step out. And really, you are not meant to work um, in the same way that others are. So, a few hours a day is typically what I hear as right for a projector to work. And when I say work, I mean energetic output. So that's like seeing clients, sharing your wisdom on a live, or teaching, or doing something that involves energetic output. Now, your work could involve other things like reading, researching, learning, being in a class. That wouldn't kind of count towards your like energetic output. But for people who are projectors who don't know that and are operating the way that the world tells us we need to operate, we might be seeing like 8 or 10 clients a day. I work primarily with service-based business owners. So that was my frame of reference, my context of just seeing client after client after client and exhausting myself and not understanding why other people could do that and then go get dinner with friends and then come home and watch a movie. And like, I couldn't do all of that. I did, but it took an immense toll on me. So our gift, or one of our gifts, is that we're here to really provide our insight, our perspective, and that is part of where our value comes from versus value around how much can you do, how much can you accomplish, how much can you get done. It's more about the perspective and the kind of depth of your seeing that is really where your value comes in as a projector.
That's really incredible to hear, and valuable insight as to how you operate so that you can, show up how you're made to show up. I learned that I was a generator. I still don't exactly know what that entails.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just, I just learned I was a generator. Um, and then I also learned that, and you can confirm this, that's the majority of the society. Is that true?
Yes, they're about 70% of people are generators or manifesting generators. So one of the two types, which are Some will say that manifesting generators are kind of a type of generator, but yes, about 70%.
Okay. And the only thing that I really know about being a generator is
Mhm,
that I do well responding to someone.
mhm, mhm,
That's about all I know.
mhm. Yeah, that's great. So generators and manifesting generators are amazing. Like they are powerhouses. They have the life force that essentially like infuses all of us, right? Like when a generator is in their right work, as it's called, that life force is like palpable. You can feel it. It kind of carries the energy of everyone else. So helping generators to really find what it is that lights them up, what they're here to do, how to use their energy correctly, it has a profound impact on all of us, actually. So generators are amazing. They're like just this like warm powerhouse of energy when it's used correctly. Generators can burn out too, of course, but it looks a little different for how they burn out. Um, so you're really designed to find satisfaction through right work, as they call it. And that right work is really meant to use up your daily energy supply. So it's like, how do you choose to drain that powerful, energetic battery that you have every day? And you're really here to kind of provide the energy to move things along, to bring things to completion. You're naturally skilled at building and growing, and you can really access that potent energy supply when you're doing the right stuff that's aligned. It like clicks on, gives you a motor to keep going. Um, and yes, you're meant to respond to things outside of yourself. So, like the billboard or something you see that you're scrolling through on social media, you're meant to respond to things outside of yourself and then connect with that sacral energy to say, yes, I want this thing. No, I don't want this thing. It's like a very visceral, primal yes or no that will come up in response to things. Um, so you really want to be using that energy that you have in the right way. So sometimes what can happen is that generators, because they have access to a lot of energy, can get sucked into shoulds, doing things that they think they're supposed to, doing things that other people ask them to do. They can fall into, trying to hold themselves up to expectations. There's a lot of guilt often that like permeates in the generator world. So what can happen is that they start using their energy in the wrong way. So they're sort of like revving the gears almost. Like they're like forcing down that gas pedal, using their energy in a way that's not right for them, so they can certainly burn out. Usually they can bounce back from burnout a little bit faster than some of the other types, but it's really about using that energy in the right way that is aligned for you. That's things that get you excited, naturally charged up, juiced up, that you feel like you can feel the kind of physical response when that comes into your life.
I can totally that resonates with me 100%. And I've never heard it explained like that. And tell me what you, because I have a strong intuitive sense and it
Mhm,
comes out in all the work that I do.
mhm.
And it sounds like that's part of utilizing my generator quality in the right way. It sounds like
For for
because of
sure.
that intuitive nature of um, of guidance.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, all of the types can be very intuitive. It just is going to maybe show up a little differently in different types. And types is your energy type is just one aspect of your chart. So there'll be different ways that other things show up based on the definition in your chart, which of the centers are defined or not. So there's going to be different things that impact how you experience intuition versus how I experience intuition. Um, but for you, part of that meter might be more of this like yes, no, movement toward, movement away, as just one example of how you might experience intuition. And for you, that may be a big theme. Like, let's say we looked at your chart and we looked at different channels or gates or centers that were impacted for you, that intuitive knowing and that intuitive knowledge and guidance might be a really important part of what you're here to do. It might be a part of that right work for you. Whereas maybe for another generator, they use their intuition in a different way, and it's maybe not as central in the work that they do. Their right work looks different. Which is what I love about the system, right? It's so layered and there's so many different pieces of it. So it's great too that you know that your inner discernment meter tells you this feels really right to me. This is good. I want more of this.
Yeah, it's a very strong meter.
Good. That's great.
I would love to hear a story you have of a client, kind of like a book from human design, and then after an example of recognizing certain gifts and what that looked like.
Yeah. Can you say that first part again? You cut out a little bit. I just want to
Oh,
make
I
sure I got
did.
it right.
I would love to hear a story you have of a client you've worked with using the human design,
Mhm.
kind of like what they were experiencing before and
Mhm.
what um, you they learned through the process, and now what they're experiencing with that element.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, amazing. Okay, there's so many stories. Like, which one is the most useful? Okay, I'll speak to one that's actually top of mind. It was a client I was working with recently, and I one of the things that we talked about is that she was making a change in her career. Really, she was kind of moving from one area to specialize in a slightly different area, and we were talking a lot just about her process, like what she needs during the day, how to structure her business, what she feels really fulfilled doing, kind of what burns her out. We were just like in the thick of it, what how do we want this to look? And we had pulled up her chart and we were looking through things. And she's actually also a mental projector, just like I am, which is kind of a rare type. There's only about 2% of us that are mental projectors. So it's a little unique and nice to find another one so that we can really talk about these kind of pieces that are unique to us in a way, where there was a lot of guilt that she had picked up over the years around needing like time essentially just for her mind, like to think about things, to learn new things, to sort of just mull them over in her mind, to talk them out, to like kind of be in that like just space with your thoughts, that kind of like think tank space on your own almost, where she felt a lot of guilt for always taking a class or wanting to always learn something different, and she felt like she was kind of jumping all over the place in these different things, and again sort of beating herself up a little bit that she couldn't do like output client 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 client. And she was like, I really need time. I like time to learn, to do the assignments for this class, to sit and think about this. um and we talked about how that actually was energetically correct for her to be doing, is to have space to think, to mull things over, to learn, right? So as mental projectors, we only have definition either in the throat or above it. So we're kind of here, right? Like this is where all the things are happening for us. Um, so she had a defined ajna and a defined throat, just like I do, interestingly. So we talked about how she was here and meant to share her opinions, her thoughts, her perspective, how she conceptualized things, how she thought about things. She was meant to speak them out and express them. So when she didn't have an opportunity to do that, she felt sort of off. And when she built in time to like be with her thoughts, be with the things that she was learning so she could formulate what it was that she did think so that she could share it, things felt better to her. But that's not something I think that's very it's like rewarded in our world or how we think about business, right? It's like see more people, make more money, see more people, do more. So we talked about how do you build a structure where you have time to take classes, to learn, to formulate opinions, to write, to create content. Um, and how do we leverage the fact that you're meant to share those thoughts and opinions and perspectives as a vehicle for your like marketing, really, to draw people towards you? So how does that look? So with her, we talked about writing, we talked about being on podcasts, we talked about speaking and clarifying these opinions and then sharing them. as a way to get people to come toward her, versus other things that she had been trying, which didn't feel so good to her. She was like always trying to set up these different tech systems, and she was like lost in the behind the scenes of her business, and she was trying to do a ton on social media, which could be really perfectly aligned for other people, but for her, it never felt right. It felt like a should instead of a aligned decision. So anyway, so we really leaned into some of those strengths for her, and switched up how she was doing things. We looked at some of her channels. She only had two, and like what that meant for her natural strengths, how to lean into those natural strengths when you are out there sharing. How do you stand out? How do you lean into those things that are uniquely yours? So, yeah, so things I think felt clearer. And essentially, it often just gives people permission to do things in the way that feels the best.
Yeah, it's like when you have that sense of clarity and affirmation
Mhm.
of what it actually is. Like you may feel this like inner nudge or indicator, but until you have something else that affirms that,
Mhm.
you may not even like you said, like give yourself permission to lean into that. So I love that example. That's just incredible. And it's so dynamic because what I hear you're saying is there's so many different layers to it, and depending on the person, um, almost as if no two people are alike, but in
Mhm.
the human design, it's a unique design
Mhm.
um, for that. So that's awesome. I love hearing that story um, and just how it can really make a huge difference in how you're showing up so that it feels right.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. Okay, cool. Well, I know you have a free gift
Mhm.
for our viewers today. So you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. The freebie and gift that I'm going to share is called the Gift Guide, Uncover Your Unique Gifts with Human Design. So, what this is a guide that walks you through how to really look at your chart to uncover some of your own uniqueness, your unique gifts that are special to you. And then at the end, there's like a Mad Libs style paragraph where you get to kind of fill in these different pieces, so that you have this little statement, a little paragraph around what you're here to do, what's unique about you, what are your strengths. And it's just a place to start, especially if you feel like, I know I have more to offer and give. I'm not quite sure how to weave this into my business. I really want to stand out, but stand out authentically in a way that feels really good and aligned with the truth of who you are. So I hope you love it. It was really fun putting it together. And yeah, so enjoy.
Awesome. Yes, and the link will be in the comments if for whoever is watching so that you can take advantage of that. I know I'm going to take advantage of it so that I can understand it for myself better and be able to step more into that. So this is wonderful, and I'm so grateful for you to be here today, Alyssa. And how else would you want someone to reach out to you if they had questions or anything like that?
Yeah. So you're meant to follow, or you're welcome to follow me on Instagram at Dr. Alyssa Adams. You can shoot me a message, or you can hop over to my website at dralyssaadams.com. I have a contact form on there if you want to get in touch with me, connect with me, talk more. You can also see all the other services I have and how I work with people. And I'd love to connect.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you for being here today. Thank you for our viewers for tuning in. If you're catching this on replay, just hit hashtag replay to let us know that you are here today or when you're viewing it. And to let you know what events are coming up, we have a free masterclass for midlife female entrepreneurs that is on November the 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it is how to heal your business from the inside out. And I'll be sharing the 3 keys that have my clients working fewer hours and making more sales. So if you want more information about that, find me on LinkedIn at I am Wesley Reece, and I will look forward to seeing you next week for our next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.